welcome back to my channel. So I look a hot mess. My kids are yelling downstairs. This is real life. I have 3 kids. I have no quiet time at all. So anyway, I figured I would make a recipe video. Some of you guys have told me that you wanted to like cook with me kind of video. So here we go, let's cook. My kitchen is a mess, so don't judge me. You probably will, who cares? So I look homeless, but let's just ignore that. If you guys don't know, if you're new to this channel, if this is just randomly you stumbling upon this video, I am married to a Mexican. I am not Hispanic at all. I think this is a specific Mexican recipe, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, my suegra, or mother-in-law, taught me how to make chile relleno. It's basically like a stuffed pepper. You can make it with like meat, I think, but I always make it with cheese. And yeah, we have a lot of cheese and we have some peppers, so I was like, let's make some chile relleno, as my grandpa calls it. The first step is washing the chilies. Obviously, you have to wash them if you buy them from the grocery store. And then what I do is I coat them with a tiny bit of oil, and then I throw them on my dirty stove. As you can see, the stove is disgusting, but I do that on purpose. They make a big mess everywhere, so yeah, wouldn't recommend doing this on a clean stove unless you want to have to clean it again. So yeah, you just kind of flip them around and make sure that they get burnt on all sides, which sounds strange, but you'll see why you do this. I usually use my hands. I tried using tongs, as you can see, and they just freaking fell everywhere. So just do this at your own risk. Like I said, I think there's ways you could do this like in the oven, but I really don't know how, and I would just recommend Googling that. Then the next step is putting them in this plastic bag so that they can steam up. The steam helps you heal the chilies, basically. So you stick them in the plastic bag, and then I go to the sink, disinfect it as needed. You just peel the skin off of the chili. So after it's like been in that bag for a while, it gets like really loose, and you can just peel it really nicely, and then you just do it till all the black is gone. And then you use the little knife that I showed in the beginning to remove the seeds and the veins of the chili, because if you leave it in, it's really, really hot. And then you're going to want to wash your hands with sugar, because if you don't use sugar on your hands, you're going to regret it if you wear contacts like me, because you'll forget that you touched something hot and spicy, and then you'll try to touch your eye or something and it'll hurt. So the next thing I'm doing here is I'm taking a saucepan and putting canola oil. I use canola oil. You could probably use any oil, but I don't know, I just like canola oil. And then I put it on like medium high and leave that there. And then you're gonna do the sauce. The first ingredient is tomato sauce. And then you're gonna put a quarter of an onion. And then you're gonna put some minced garlic. You could also just use cloves of garlic because you're blending it anyway. You're putting this in a blender, by the way. So basically, oh, and also you add chicken bouillon, sorry. And then you put it all in a blender and you blend it up until it's smooth. And then you add it to a saucepan and turn that on low. You're gonna keep that on low while you're doing everything else. You need to stuff the chilies with cheese. You could also do this with meat, I think, but I don't know, I've never done it, so I don't know what to recommend. I just put mozzarella cheese. It's like this really delicious cheese I get from Costco, and it melts deliciously and beautifully, and you stuff as much cheese as will fit. A couple of my chilies were actually like falling apart, but it all works out in the end. You could also put toothpicks, but I really honestly don't know how to do that. So this is the hardest part of the recipe. This is going to be making the batter for the chili to be fried in. By the way, this is not a healthy recipe. I don't know if you can tell because we use a lot of oil in this recipe, whatever. It's delicious, so who cares? It's low carb though, by the way. So you crack, well, I use an egg per 2 chilies that I'm making, and sometimes I'll just add an extra egg because you just don't want to run out of the batter because it's annoying to make more. And then you separate the yolks from the eggs and set the yolks aside. And then you want to take a hand beater. If you don't have one of these, you could do it by hand with a whisk, but it'll take you forever, but it will work. And you just beat it until the egg yolks turn into this frothy stuff. Also, the secret to making it froth up really nicely is adding a little bit of baking powder. And yeah, you just whip it until it's all good. And then once it's stiff peaks, which is like when it, I don't know, it has stiff peaks, you add the yolks in really quickly, and don't overbeat it because it could fall down. And then you set that aside, and then you go set everything up basically. And I like to sprinkle the chilies with a tiny bit of flour. You really don't need that much, but it's just so that the batter will stick to the chili, and then you just deep fry them basically. And because this is like a shallow pan that I'm using, and you'll probably most likely be using a shallow pan, you kind of have to scoop the oil on top of the chili, like to get the sides of it. So it's kind of dangerous. Please be careful. Don't burn yourself. And yeah, then you just flip them over, and once they're golden brown, you pick them up with tongs and just kind of let them drain as much oil as you can right there. And then you transfer them to a paper towel lined plate. And then once they're all fully drained and you're done cooking them all, you could put them either into the saucepan of sauce, which is what I like to do, or you could, if you're gonna be saving them for a later time, you could freeze them. But if you're only storing them for a couple of days in the fridge, it's perfectly fine to have them in the sauce. And yeah, that's the whole recipe. They're very, very delicious if you've never tried it. And that's the entire recipe, and now we're gonna dig in and eat. My baby is crying. It is time for bedtime and nighttime routine after I'm done eating, and that's it. It's not the easiest recipe, nor is it the healthiest, but it is quite delicious. And if you're low carb, it's actually very low carb. So yeah, you could even skip the flour step and have it be like very, very little carbs. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I will see you guys tomorrow. It'll probably be a vlog. I'll see you guys in my video tomorrow. Bye guys.